was a boy, the world was pretty. My parents...
This particular studio has been around since the early 80s. I think it might have opened in 81, maybe 82, and had various people running it. A lot of great things happened in this building. Among other things, some of John Mellencamp's stuff was recorded in here. But the Bob and Tom projects, we've recorded the music for them here since the mid-'80s. So we've done more than 60 albums over the years, and we've recorded a lot of other people's albums in here. Rodney Carrington, whose album is RIAA Certified Gold. Lots of outside projects. Alan's done lots of different things, and other engineers have worked in here. But the Bob and Tom's band stuff, we have done, as I said, upwards of 60 plus albums.
Well, I've been working in this room since 1984. It was TRC Studios for years, and then it was Saga Studios for a couple years, and it's been the Static Shack now for 11 or 12 years. Though I have a great love for all styles of music. Yeah, I like songs. I like 3 to 5 minute songs, regardless of style. It can be bluegrass or R&B, rock, country. But I like that structure, that building a hit song, finding that intangible that makes you want to go back and listen to it again and again. That's what I like to get after.
We've had tremendous artists in here. Peter Frampton, Kid Rock, Melissa Etheridge. I could go on and on and on. Styx, Dennis DeYoung, Poco, Bruce Hornsby, just a lot of major people.
There's been so many, so much great music coming out of this room. It's ridiculous.
Peter Frampton, and,
yeah.
Just Alan really has a memory for all the people who played here. But
we've had so many moments. We'd be from Paul Rogers to Kid Rock to Melissa Etheridge have all wandered through the door at one time or another. I got to spend 3 months with John Fogerty. That's a blast. I've made multiple records with Duke Tomato. I made multiple records with Larry Crane.
Well, I'm Larry Crane, guitar player, arranger, producer, songwriter. What else do I do? Dishwasher,
golfer.
Well, nothing else. This is
Steve Allee, piano player, composer, arranger, producer.
Larry was one of the creators of what we know as the Heartland Sound, which is now country music is hugely influenced by. You immediately recognize that sound.
Oh, when people talk about Heartland rock sound nowadays, Alan Johnson is a big part of that sound.
He is.
Without a doubt, because
he hears it from the inside out.
I mean, I can only make that sound from after it leaves the amplifier. It's up to him. Once that noise leaves the amp, then it's up to him.
Yeah. In some ways, I like to think that's one of my skills is trying to find that whatever that special kernel is that makes a song tick.
Well, the music industry, the challenge the music industry faces is income. And the only reason it faces that is at some point an artist needs to make enough money that allows them to continue to create. That's the challenge. There's an incredible amount of great music going on today, more than there's ever been. So that part of the equation is healthier than it's ever been. Yet there's less income being produced. So the challenge is for any artist is being able to support themselves. You can't tour if you've got a 9-to-5 job. You can't write. You can't devote your life to writing or practicing your skill or recording if you're continually doing something else. There's always a transition period for every artist, but it's become a little more difficult now, I think. There are specific challenges, but there are some benefits out there too. It's easier to record. It's easier to create. People are more knowledgeable about it now. Cutting through the noise is the challenge.
The general problem that musicians have faced forever and trying to get their creations, their music, to as many people as possible in whatever distribution method is available to them, balanced against getting paid by the people they're getting their music to. Those have always been forces that have worked against one another for musicians in every era. I think what we found is that the distribution channels are more available now than ever for musicians to get their music to the masses, but it's increasingly difficult to get paid for that music.
An interesting royalty fact, and this is just on my little world, but I got my digital ASCAP music statement, and it lists all the songs that's being played wherever, around, everywhere. And one of the songs was played like 6,400 times. It was streamed 6,400 times. I made 36 cents from that. Does that seem fair to you?
Yeah.
How? That's a lot of plays, and I'm kind of nobody, I'm the small fish, They have stories of Lady Gaga doing 1 or 2 million streams, and she got a check for $147 or something like this. I just don't know how that works out. I look at some of these microphones. I know they range from several $100s to $3,000 or more. So I know the piano costs more than $147.
Yeah.
Record labels are faced with the challenges of people not buying albums. Album sales are, for the most part, at record lows industry-wide. And the challenge of monetizing the distribution. So the streaming services all pay. The streaming services all pay very little compared to the profits that can be made off of a profitable album.
I think we're in a transition period. I think the new model will produce a far greater amount of income eventually. I forget what the numbers are, but it's a very small percentage now of people, for example, that pay for some sort of streaming service, whether it's Spotify or Pandora or whatever. Very small percentage. Eventually, I think we'll see the majority of people subscribing to some sort of streaming service. When that happens, income will go up dramatically. How it will be distributed is a question that we still haven't answered yet.
I think the major labels and the streaming services are continuing dialogue to try to get more profits going to the owners of the sound recording. I think the performing rights organizations are all working hard with the streaming services to try to get more money to the publishers and the songwriters.
I think there's more creativity, more great music than there's ever been. So if you use that as the bedrock for what you think will happen in the future, your belief for good things in the future, I think it will eventually even out. But we're certainly in a painful period right now.
It's not going to stop us from producing our own music because we love our music, and we're going to do that regardless.
We'd actually pay to do it.
Will the music business survive? Yes. We're going through a change right now, and it's always going through changes. There was a time when people couldn't listen to recordings at home. They went and heard a band, and all of a sudden they could listen to a recording at home. And then television came along. Before that there was radio. There was 8-tracks, cassettes. We went from singles to people making albums, MTV, CDs. They've all been dramatic changes that have changed the way we consume music, the way we listen to it, the way the business was structured, and we'll survive this. It may take a while, no one really knows where it's going to land for certain, but we'll survive.